You know why the Leafs won that game? It's because the Sabres looked rough. I said the Sabres looked... I heard you.
Oh my God, finally!
Good old Canadian player.
Country!
Deal with it.
Neon Smash!
Owen Grubowski.
GTFO.
I got it from afar. The Leafs win 3-1 over the Buffalo Sabres. And the thing about playoff teams is they win the games they should. And every game you can look at the Leafs and cite their injuries as a reason for losing, but the Sabres just lost their coach, who's been their coach since 1997. The Sabres are a team that play the Leafs hard all the time. The games are usually very evenly matched, and when that is the situation you walk into a game with, you gotta win it. And they did. I'll briefly talk about the game, because I want to ask you guys some things about the Buffalo Sabres. Ryan Miller, Ben Scrivens exchanging big saves in the first. Tyler Ennis catches the Leafs a little flat-footed, puts on a great shot, 1-0. Phaneuf gets his 100th goal. He's been sort of silently putting up points lately. I like it. And one thing we haven't really talked about was some of the Leafs' key offensive pieces being out of the lineup. Sure, JVR stepped it up. A lot of other forwards have stepped it up. But you need some offense from the defense when that happens. So thank you, Dion. And JVR just... Was that his best game as a Leaf? Might have been. Because not only did he get 2 goals, but there was that crazy old-school Ovechkin-esque just twirl around the zone, and he also got robbed by Miller. He should have had a hat trick. And I'll make this one of the questions of the game. When Joffrey Lupul comes back, do you put him back with Kessel? Some might float the idea of putting Van Riemsdyk between Lupul and Kessel, but Van Riemsdyk looks so good on the wing. But that's a good problem to have. And also, it's the NHL and a lockout-shortened schedule. You're probably not going to have to worry about having a fully healthy roster. Someone's going to get hurt. Now, kind of what I wanted to talk about. The Boston Bruins ruined the Buffalo Sabres. I wrote an article last season called The Boston Bruins and the Punk Test. And it's obviously about the Ryan Miller and Milan Lucic incident. And it's basically the Bruins can just do whatever they want to the Sabres now. But what I didn't write about in that piece, and what I didn't understand at the time, was that incident did not just give the Bruins full reign to do whatever they want to the Sabres, it gave the rest of the league full reign to do whatever they want to the Sabres. And it led to things like overcompensating, like 3 or 4 guys jumped on Jordan Tutu at the same time when he even touched Ryan Miller last year. Gostad had to fight Lucic the next time the Sabres and Bruins met, and it's like, for what? I'm not sure you send much of a message by getting beaten up. And then they lose some skill and try to become a grittier team, though. They get a guy like Steve Ott, who's a good player, John Scott, who's very intimidating. But even still, who is really afraid of the Buffalo Sabres? The Leafs certainly aren't, because the second Colton Orr took on John Scott, everyone just kind of held their breath. But it's that defeating the monster mentality where you go, oh, it bleeds. He goes to take on Fraser McLaren to prove a point, and McLaren opens him up. And then little guys like Nathan Gerby feel like they got to be like, yeah, well, let me show you what I can do. That game where Lucic hit Miller set the Sabres back like 3 or 4 years. It screwed a lot of things up in that team. Miller has been miserable in like every post-gamer since. And let me ask you this, because I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm trying to get a grasp of the Sabres. What are the Buffalo Sabres? Are they a skill team? Are they an experienced team? Are they a young team? Are they a gritty team? Are they a well-rounded team? And Lindy Ruff finally had to take the fall. I mean, the consensus of Sabres fans seems to be, thank you, Lindy, we loved your time here, but it was time to go. But what's Darcy Regier doing with this team? I look at the roster and don't understand. So riddle me that, and also the JVR question. As always, check out the post-game blog in the underbar. Also going to have that Punk Test article that I wrote that I told you about. Also, and I don't know if you care, but hopefully you do, the KHL playoffs are starting. We're still doing highlights in English for them, and we also did some really cool preview videos for the series. I think you'll like them, even if you're not a fan of the league. Thanks for watching, and help me out. Help me understand the Buffalo Sabres.